I mean, when the stadium's got about 20,000 fans left in at the end in a major game like this, then basically it's as bad as it can be and you're 3-0 down. I think the impact of taking Casemiro off will reverberate around the dressing room because he's one of the leaders, just like the Harry Maguire situation we've done a year and a half ago, when someone in your dressing room that's important to the group and has got a voice obviously gets hooked at half-time like that and he's made 2 mistakes. It has a big impact, but it's been a really challenging time for Manchester United for 10 years, whether you're Antony, an 80 million winger, Di Maria, an 80 million pound winger, Sancho that's just left this week, whether it's Marcus Rashford, who's a young kid that's coming through the ranks, who's struggling in the second half and the fans are onto him. It's really difficult, and managers have struggled, not just Eric Ten Hag, every manager that's come to this club has struggled, and there is a feeling today of, are we going to go through the same thing again? But I think it's a time for a bit of calm. It's an international break, which is probably well needed for United. But Eric Ten Hag's going to have to get the club into a position sort of challenging for Champions League towards Christmas, or else he's going to be in trouble. He knows that. You know, he's been influenced to change his team, his staff in the summer. He's brought 2 new coaches in. That is not always ideal as well. So there's new messaging coming in, even though he's been here for 2 years. There's new technical directors, CEOs. There is a lot of change at the club. There are a lot of staff that have been here a long time that are leaving as well. So, look, there was going to be some pain along the way of actually, if you like, interfering with the Glazer ownership. We're seeing that pain right here today. It's not going to change quickly. It's a sobering day for United, but one that I think just requires some calm, because we wanted change of ownership and we've got that, and there is some things happening and we have to let it settle in and bed in. Look, there's no doubt. I don't agree with the nerve bit at the end. He used the word bottle up there on the gantry, and that's why we were arguing for 20 minutes. But generally,
we don't know about that. So,
well, he said that the ownership bottled it in not getting rid of him.
Jamie said the ownership bottled it.
Yeah,
right,
at the end of the season up there,
they did.
Oh my God, how can you say they bottled it? They were really open about the fact that they went and looked for a manager to try and replace Eric Ten Hag. They couldn't find one. Bayern Munich had a few months to replace Tuchel and found it difficult and ended up employing someone as a 3rd and 4th choice. Liverpool had 6 months to replace Klopp and employ Arne Slot was 3rd choice. It wasn't easy to get a manager at the end of last season for Manchester United or any club in Europe.
So you are openly admitting that they were looking for another manager.
You just said it.
Yeah, exactly.
They admitted it.
Exactly. So they're looking for somebody else, and they can't actually get. So they don't want this manager. If you're happy with your manager, you don't start speaking to other managers. The people you're talking about, Bayern Munich and Liverpool, they knew the managers were going 6 months before the end of the season.
Still couldn't find a manager.
I know, it doesn't matter. They had to find somebody. If you're happy with your manager, you don't start flying around Europe speaking to agents.
Eric Ten Hag wins the FA Cup, and I think it shocks everybody. It shocks Ineos, and they then think, well, OK, we'll still go and we'll still go and look around Europe and see if we can find a manager. They couldn't find a manager that they felt would take the club forward at this moment in time better than Eric Ten Hag could. So he kept his job. Liverpool couldn't find the manager for 2nd and 3rd time. Neither could Bayern Munich. It was hard to find managers at the end of last season. A lot of clubs in Europe were trying to look for a manager and couldn't find one. Ineos tried to look for one to replace Eric Ten Hag. They couldn't do, so they decided, because he won the FA Cup, they would stick with him. What part of that don't you understand?
Okay, you know the manager.
Pardon?
Could they have had Arne Slot?
They didn't want Arne Slot, probably. They didn't think that Arne Slot was more of a guarantee to take on this club more than what Eric Ten Hag was. Who, to be fair, it shouldn't be sniffed, by the way. It shouldn't be like demeaned that 2 trophies in 2 years winning the FA Cup is all of a sudden now a really bad time. Finishing 8th in the league is unacceptable, but they've won 2 trophies in 2 seasons.
He pointed to that this week.
In Manchester United's history, there were many seasons where they went years without winning trophies. So Alex Ferguson, it took him 6-7 years to win a Premier League. It takes time sometimes. Jurgen Klopp, it took 5 years, 6 years. Arteta's on a journey of 5-6 years to try and win a Premier League. If they're winning trophies along the way, they shouldn't be sniffed at.
In Jurgen Klopp's 3rd season, they were in the Champions League final, and you could see something building going forward. If you think...
It's not good enough.
It's what?
It's not good enough.
So how long do you... Why was it going to... For the fact I'm saying that they bottled it in the summer, what was going to be different this season just by changing your staff? What difference were we going to see in Manchester United this season?
Really simply, there's a thought process that every manager that's been at Manchester United over the last 10 years is really bad. They're not good enough. What's he called? Van Gaal's not good enough. Rangnick's not good enough. Solskjaer's not good enough. Mourinho's not good enough.
Yeah, you always blame the Glazers. Who are you going to blame now?
Moyes is not good enough. So what they've tried to do is give a stable platform above him with different people, technical directors, sporting directors, head of recruitment, CEOs, all changed, that actually it might not be the coach that's the problem at the club. It might be the fact that they've not got the right balance around them. So let's get the right support staff in, which is what they've done, and see whether this manager can thrive under a better leadership above him. That's what they've tried. I don't think that's wrong.